Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me once again. Saj Sadek here, bringing you another T20 World Cup update. I'd like to welcome back viewers who've already shared and watched some of my content in the past. It's good to have you on board, and thank you very much for all the support, all the likes, all the shares, etc. And a very warm welcome to all those guys who are watching one of my videos for the first time. I hope you enjoy it, and always try to give me some comments and feedback. And we're always trying to improve these videos and bring content that people find interesting. I thought it would be a good point to actually review what's happened in the T20 World Cup so far. Might be a little bit painful for Pakistani cricket fans, but as ever, it's always an honest assessment, I think. It's never personal, although some of the personal criticism at the moment of some of the players and let's just say beyond is getting a little bit heavy, isn't it? It's uncalled for. I tend to focus on cricketing ability, on mistakes, on the pros and the cons, rather than getting personal with any current player. I think they all try their best. They're all trying to do their best for the country. Sometimes it's not good enough. Yes, we vent our frustration. We want them to win all the time, but that's always not possible. But it should never, ever get personal. So let's start with Group A. We've got India top of the pile, obviously already through. Don't think they've played that well, to be honest with you. I mean, Pakistan, let's be honest about it, they should have beaten them. USA pushed them a lot yesterday, and at some points in the game, it looked like USA might actually come away with the 2 points. I think a little bit inexperience shone through of the USA captain and the team, but credit to the Indians. They carried on with their positive intent, and in the end, they were fairly comfortable. I think generally in these tournaments, the best teams get better as the tournament goes on. So I think India are sitting pretty at the moment, aren't they, regarding qualification from Group A. USA, yes, if they beat Ireland, or even if the match is rained off tomorrow, they're through at the expense of Pakistan. What people say Pakistan don't deserve to get to the Super 8s. Well, yes, I agree to a certain point. But if they beat Ireland in their last game and obviously results go their way, then you can say they do deserve to make the Super 8s because they've got there regarding points, and also net run rate has been in their favour. They've not played good cricket. They've played abysmal cricket, Pakistan, but they're a dangerous opponent if they get through to the Super 8s. Biggest problem for Pakistan, of course, is that the weather in Florida is not looking good. So Pakistan's game against Ireland could be washed out. Other games could be washed out as well. So that will be a massive blow to Pakistan. Been to Florida a few times, and obviously those of you guys who've been there and lived there will know that when it rains, it rains. And when the sun comes out, obviously it dries very quickly, but I'm not so sure about the drying, how quick these grounds dry out there in Florida. But it's not looking too good for Pakistan in terms of weather. Moving on to Group B, Australia, top of the pile, 6 points out of 6. They've looked good, haven't they? It's a World Cup. It's an ICC tournament. This is what Australia do. Consistent. They pick strong-minded players, mentally tough, aren't they? They've got a fantastic squad, and the backup strength looks good as well. They're a force. They've already shown what a good, solid team they are. And I just think that whoever they meet in the next stage, the semi-finals, the finals, they're going to know that they've been in the game, because these boys are the team to beat as far as I'm concerned. Conditions probably not ideal for them, but the Australians are that good that they almost sort of conditions go out the window. They're a fantastic team, really are, and they're going to be tough to beat. Now, I want to talk about England next. We talk about Pakistan struggling. Well, England, 1 point from 2 games. Yeah, they've got 2 winnable matches against Namibia and Oman to come, and you expect them to finish on 5 points. But then that brings the net run rate into play, doesn't it? England at the moment minus 1.8, Scotland 2.164. So that net run rate really does need shifting from England. And of course, if Scotland have got one game left, if it's a washout, then they're through. So who would have thought it that England would be out in the first round as well as possibly Pakistan and possibly New Zealand, who will come on to at the moment. But yeah, Australia in control of that group, job done. Scotland looking good as well. England, they are in trouble. Yes, some poor performances so far. Obviously, the game against Scotland was washed out, but they could have lost that as well. You know, a tough run chase in 10 overs. And then against Australia, they were absolutely thrashed and their net run rate took a massive hammering, didn't it? So, as I say, England on that slippery slope back to London Heathrow. The third group, West Indies. Yeah, always like watching West Indies. Great team, especially in this T20 format, aren't they? You know, the likes of Dre Russell back and Shafane Rutherford and Nicholas Pooran, guys who've got so much IPL experience, so many T20 leagues around the world. They've got so much T20 experience, having played in the PSL, some of them, and many other leagues. So they are really the kings of T20 cricket when it comes to players playing in franchise tournaments. The West Indies Cricket Board tend to give them a full opportunity to play in these T20 leagues around the world, and they've been fantastic, haven't they? 6 points out of 6, very much like Australia, in control of the group that they are in, and as I said, they've already qualified for those Super 8s. I think many people thought of West Indies as outsiders, as a team to watch out for, and so far from what we've seen of this West Indies team, they look a force, don't they? They look united. They've got good game plan. The bowlers are bowling well. They're fielding well, and you know they've got power in that batting lineup. And you know, I mentioned Dre Russell before. He gives them that all-round capability that they've probably lacked in recent years when he hasn't been playing. But since he's come back, you know, he can come in and knock 20 off 10 balls, 30 off 15 balls, take a couple of wickets. And he's got that experience. You know, he supports the captain. He's a good player to have around. Afghanistan, 4 points out of 4. Many people felt they were the dark horses for this tournament and possible semi-finalist. Having spoken to a number of players, former players, current players, they thought Afghanistan would surprise a lot of people. Well, I think the surprise factor of Afghanistan has gone out the window now. People know what they're going to do. It's stopping them. That's the difficulty. They've got some of the best T20 spinners in the world. And, you know, guys who have played a lot of T20 cricket, they've got a lot of experience in that squad. And for me, their bowling lineup lacked paces in their sort of, when they first came into international cricket. Now they've got clever pacers who vary the pace, who know how to take wickets. And as I say, the pacers were always the weak link in that Afghanistan bowling lineup. But now those pacers are almost as good as the spinners. And it looks a formidable bowling lineup. The batting, Afghanistan's, yeah, I mean, you know, initially when they first came into international cricket, they were batting a bit wild, wasn't it? It was like you just never knew. They'd all come in and just slog it around the park. Yeah, hit a couple of sixes and then top edge one straight up into the air or play a wild shot and they were bowled. Now the coach, Jonathan Trott, former England batter, good solid batter, gritty cricketer. He's given them that little bit of an edge in that, especially in the batting lineup, which I think they needed. The batters are showing responsibility. They're showing what they can do, what they're capable of. And the batters now aren't just coming in there and trying to smack it from ball one. I think Jonathan Trott has built that mental toughness. They've changed their approach slightly. They're a little bit more cautious. When I say cautious, when it's needed. You know, previously, Afghanistan batters would, you know, you'd lose a couple of wickets and they'd still play in that sometimes ridiculous, chaotic fashion. Now they know how to pace the innings. So I think Jonathan Trott has performed really, really well as the Afghanistan head coach. And he's brought a little bit extra to the Afghanistan team, a little bit more mental toughness. And as I say, he's improved the batting especially. and you know, they're a force in this World Cup, and obviously Afghanistan and West Indies looking good for qualification. Now we talk about Pakistan being in trouble. We talk about England being in trouble, but New Zealand, what on earth is going on there? Speaking to a few ex-players before the tournament, they were like, "Oh yeah, New Zealand, the dark horses, they'll be there in the semi-finals. Who knows? They might be in the final, and who knows? This time they might even win the tournament." Doesn't look like it, does it? I mean, 0 points from 2 games, minus 2.425 net run rate. All it needs is for Afghanistan to pick up another point, and that's New Zealand out. So I'm afraid Kane Williamson and his boys, fresh from the IPL, of course, they thought the IPL would provide them with ideal preparation for the T20 World Cup rather than playing for their country in Pakistan. Looks like it's going pear-shaped, boys. So those Black Caps could be on the way back to Auckland pretty soon. Disastrous tournament for them. Group D, South Africa, fantastic. They look a good T20 side these days, don't they? I mean, the players that they bring in, I think they strengthened the team. They've got a formidable bowling lineup with the likes of Nokia and Rabada and those guys, and you know, Maharaj spinning, and you know, they've got a nice variety in that bowling lineup, and the batters as well. Although the likes of De Kock, etc., haven't really fired, but they've played on some tricky wickets, and you know, that game against Bangladesh will have you know, held their resolve. It would have strengthened their resolve as well in terms of you know, the mental toughness, because of course South Africa are infamous for losing close matches, aren't they? But this time around, they look a force, don't they? They look like a team that could go all the way. And you know, those close matches where they have struggled in the past, I think they're a different team this time around. And my tip to possibly win this tournament, really. Bangladesh, second in their group, and probably looking like favourites to join South Africa, given Sri Lanka have only got 1 point from 3 games, so they've had a disastrous campaign. Yeah, Bangladesh probably go through the Super 8s, and you know, they won't get much further. But you know, by even reaching the Super 8s for Bangladesh, it would be a solid achievement, because more often than not, they get knocked out in the group stages. But I mean, Netherlands are still there, aren't they? They're in with a shout. They've got 2 points from 2 games, the same as Bangladesh. So it's it looks like a two-horse race between Bangladesh and Netherlands for Super 8 qualification. I think the upcoming matches, looks like some of them are going to be spoilt by the weather. And as I said before, Pakistan's chances are hanging on a string, aren't they? They'll be praying that it doesn't rain in Florida in the upcoming days. And if, of course, it does, and there's washouts, that's Pakistan out of the tournament, back home. And no doubt there will be a barrage of criticism for them. But we'll come to that in one of the upcoming videos. Who's going to win this tournament? For me at the moment, Australia look the best bet. Can't write India off, but I don't think India so far have been at their best. The batting has lacked, let's just say, that skill, you know, that used to playing on flat tracks, that I think their batting lineup is more suited to 180, 200 type of pitch. But these wickets, unless they get better and flatter for them, I think they'll come unstuck against one of the top sides. I think South Africa, you can't write them off as well. Looks like a strong South African squad this time around. But I think whilst West Indies look a strong bet, so far I'd say Australia are my favourites to reach the final, possibly against India. Let's see, I might be wrong. Thank you very much for watching. As I said before, keep the comments coming, keep sharing the videos, and thank you very much for all the support. Take care, look after yourself, and enjoy the rest of the tournament.